Wes, and I'm Kyle, and this is Treasure Valley Max Media Podcast. So, hey, it's been a little bit since we got out and did our podcast here, so we're going to go ahead and start with our second episode. We're going to try today to get both the episodes uploaded. The first one, which we've kind of posted everywhere else on YouTube, Instagram, all those places that we both put out our content. Kyle and I have been working together on this podcast trying to get it going, and I met Kyle through LinkedIn, actually. He messaged me, he said that he saw a lot of my stuff going on, the way that I post, and for the most part, a lot of you know that I post a lot.
Like a lot.
Yeah, it's not mild, but I've talked about it quite a bit about social media and things like that, and how posting keeps you in that role, keeps you in people's mind, and that's really what we're trying to do. Is we're trying to make sure that we're on your mind when we're doing stuff, and that's why we want to help other people. That's why we're starting this podcast. We're going to start interviewing local businesses, try and help you get your name out there, try and roll you and teach you how to do what we're doing. A lot of the stuff for me comes from Gary Vee. I've been a big proponent for him. He does a lot of stuff that really pushes and really got me into posting more and more. He talks about posting 50 times a day, which I don't do.
Yeah, that's tough.
It's very hard to do that. But one of the reasons Kyle found me was because I was posting as many times as I could a day, which sometimes it's hard to do. I'm a commission salesman. I drive around all day and I don't have time to just stop and post things. And we're going to learn a little bit about Kyle, but he's got the same kind of thing going on. We both have regular jobs. This is kind of our thing to keep us going so that we can continue to make ourselves better, market ourselves, brand ourselves, so that people, because when we talk about branding, people buy from us. They don't buy from the company that we work for. So let's get into it with Kyle here. We'll talk about where he works for so that a lot of the stuff that I'm saying makes more sense to you. Anyway, here we go. So Kyle, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. So I'm Kyle Uhlenkott. I do commercial real estate. I work with Colliers International. And for those of you who don't know, commercial real estate is very similar to normal real estate, but you're focusing primarily on office space, industrial space, land, all those different subcategories, whereas a regular residential agent just focuses on a home and the different subcategories within that. So I do a lot of that, I do that, and I primarily focus on office, and kind of being newer to the business in general, I'm doing a lot of leases. And so typically the way that works is if I'm representing a building, it gets leased. The way I get paid as a commission is from the total sale, or the total aggregate lease. So it's just kind of worked as one transaction, but yeah, it's all kind of looped together. Originally from northern Idaho, Cottonwood, Idaho is where I grew up. Grew up up there, really enjoyed it. It was a small town, lots of safety and security there, and never locked my car doors, never did any of that. I mean, it was just a safe place to grow up. Then I moved down to Boise about 7 years ago, went to Boise State, got a degree in entrepreneurship management, I worked at an exotic car dealership for a little bit. I've always had a passion for cars, but just as a long-term career, I wanted to find something that was super fulfilling and that I could see myself doing when I'm 75 years old. So
it's kind of funny. I didn't realize there was an exotic car dealership in Boise. So
yeah,
we'll have to talk about that. I got to figure out where that's at, but that's pretty dang cool.
Yeah.
Can you tell us, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, I just wanted to ask you so like you can tell the audience, how long have you been doing commercial real estate now?
So I started in August, so what is that, like about 5 months now? So I'm fairly new to it in general. I mean, there's lots of guys that have been in it 10, 15, 20 years, but I'm getting into it, I'm getting the swing of things, and one way that I'm setting myself apart is doing lots of social media. So that's why we're doing this. It's a good way to brand yourself and get yourself in front of people. Because, I mean, for my career specifically, a lot of people don't even know that there is a commercial agent. You know, they want to start a business, or their business is growing. They need more office space. They just assume they call the name on the sign. They don't really find someone that's going to help them find the best value, the best space for them to actually grow their business. That's just not something that's on a lot of people's mind. And so being on top on people's social media feeds, letting them know what I do is super important.
That's one of the things that we talked about quite a bit. When I first met Kyle, he messaged me on LinkedIn like we were talking about, and we sat down and had coffee, and we were talking about what, one of Kyle's first questions was, what are you, he goes, I want to know how you're doing what you're doing, because you're all over the place. And that's really what it boils down to. I think that there's a lot of people who are kind of insecure. They're scared to take that leap into social media. And social media is one of those things that it's the way of life now. I mean, it's becoming something where it's going to be that way. I mean, people more and more now will get on Facebook, will get on Instagram, will get on LinkedIn, will get on whatever they get on to find their information. They're not doing it by looking in a phone book. Does anyone know what a phone book is anymore? I mean, obviously I'm a little bit older. I know exactly what one of those is. Did you have a phone book when you're Kyle's a little bit younger than me? Yeah, I had a phone book, but I guess I wouldn't say that I used it a lot. It's definitely going to Google. You're using that stuff a lot more than anything else. I mean, you're looking on Google, and Google is using those other social media platforms to populate, who you're looking for. Yeah. So, and that's one of the things about branding that I don't think people understand is that, again, I think we've said this already once, but people are buying from Wes. People are buying from Kyle. They're not buying from, I work at Blind Appeal or Colliers. They're buying from the person. Yeah. So we create all these relationships with people that get them to want to use us and buy from us. So that's kind of one of the things that I really look at, and I encourage other people to look at, because you have to create those relationships. So why don't you tell us a little bit about where you're at, like where are you posting and how that's going for you? Yeah. So I started heavy on Instagram, and actually I started even before I started at Colliers, and the very first week of being on the job, I had a client that we toured some spaces, and she reached out. She was like, "Hey, I see what you're doing on Instagram. Like, that's super cool. Like, that's awesome. You need to have that." So that was kind of some good affirmation right out the gate. Yeah. And from there, I've been trying to grow it. Instagram for me is just the simplest. I'm a very visual person, so posting a picture, posting a screenshot of something that you think is really cool is easier for me to relay. Twitter's been one that's been super tough, because I don't have a whole lot to say. It's more like showing people things. So Twitter's been super difficult for me, but I'm on there trying to post more. LinkedIn is another area. I think it's relatable for me, because I can go through, find an article that I found really interesting, or a video or something, and post it on there, or post my own content. And it's another professional way to engage with people, so that other professionals are knowing who you are and what you do. I'm on TikTok. We were just talking about that. It's a difficult one to understand for people that are not 15. Yeah, we're even though Kyle's a little bit younger than me. A little bit, but I'm posting on there, I'm almost 40, and you're what, 26? Yeah, so he's, we got a little gap, but it's funny how you get on there. Like, when I was teaching, I saw all these kids, they're like, hey, we're going to go do these TikTok videos, and I'm like, what? Yeah. And I'm teaching PE, and these kids are, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what class they're supposed to be in, but they're not supposed to be in mine. And their teacher has allowed them to go do something else, and I'm like, they're going to get in trouble if something happens. And I'm like, what the heck is this TikTok? And I'm not going to do that, and blah, blah, blah. So then Gary's like pounding it. Hey, TikTok, 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 because TikTok, for those of you who don't know, and LinkedIn right now have the largest organic reach. And organic reach is what you want. For those of you who are not big on social media, but you want organic reach. Those are actually people. Those are real people. They're not, they're not. If you look, you get a lot of these fake accounts that are like, hey, follow me, hey, follow me, hey, follow me. You follow them. Mm-hmm. They never follow you. They've got tons of followers, whatever. It's like
it's not even like real content.
Yeah,
it's not even someone.
It's not. And that's the funny thing is like I post these sticker questions all the time because I'm just trying to get people to engage, and I do want to know. I honestly want to know what I ask. I never get a real response to any of those questions, so it's kind of interesting to see because you know that some of your followers are not real people.
Yeah.
And so, but you get on TikTok and you're looking, and I'm like you said, there's like 15-year-old kids on there.
Yeah.
And they're getting mad because they're like, the funniest thing I ever did was I posted a video. I said it's not Merry Christmas, it's Happy Holidays. You're just trying to find, or it's not Happy Holidays, it's Merry Christmas, and whatever, And the first question, or the first thing, the response that I got it was, okay, boomer. And I'm sitting there going, okay, boomer. Do you know, like, these kids don't even know what a boomer is, but this is this big old giant thing. Like, everyone's okay, boomer on TikTok to anyone who does anything that's, like, in the past,
Yeah.
And it's just funny. But that's the thing. It's like, it's the tough thing to crack. So when I'm posting on there, I'm trying to find my way of what to post, and it's tough.
Yeah, and there's more people coming over. I mean, a lot of older people. It's kind of like Facebook. When I first got on Facebook, like my parents weren't on there. I mean, it was just kids. And then it slowly transitions, and then the older people get on there, and then it becomes a kind of a different platform. But yeah, TikTok's a difficult one. It took me. I downloaded it twice. And I downloaded it once, deleted it, downloaded it again, deleted it, and then I downloaded it for the third time and actually started using it. But it's a difficult one, but it is really strange. Like, I had a couple videos that blew up. Like, first one that I had that blew up was I just was in Nampa, and I posted a video of the sugar beet factory, and was like, if you're in this area, you know that this place stinks. It was like the shortest video, and it just blew up. I had 19,000 views on that, and then I had another one shortly after that was at Costco. It was just about how there was a lot of people at Costco, and that had 44,000, and I just recently had another one blow up, but it's really strange. But yeah, I'm on all those platforms. Wes told me to make a Facebook business page, so I made one of those. And trying to grow the email list, but that's a difficult one. It's very organic and slow, but it's a good way to reach out to people.
Yep. Well, that's kind of where it's at. I think that we really are trying to pump that social media thing. We want to get you involved. We want to interview some people. We want to make sure that you're able to get in on this. If you are interested in being interviewed and you're like a local small business or something like, didn't even have to be small business, but a local business, we would really like to interview you. We would like to get you on our podcast here, and then keep working at that, because it's really important to us that we help support local businesses. That's kind of where we're at. We want to make sure that you get your name out there. We want to help you market yourself with social media and all that. So, hit us up. Our podcast is Treasure Valley Max Media. It's going to be under that. And then we also have a YouTube channel, Treasure Valley Max Media. Kyle and I both are on every platform.